All right. Okay, now we are. Here we go. And here we go. Here we go. Here we go. First of all, happy Tuesday, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Let's get into this truth about young Scooter. First of all, thank you for being here. Okay. You could have been anywhere in the world right now, but you choose to be here with me. And I thank you for that. You're far too kind. All right. Y'all, welcome to Radio-Muva Uncensored. Big round of applause, please. All things IRL, in case you don't know what that means, it means in real life, online. All right. So YouTube, Facebook, IG, TikTok, Rumble, and Patreon, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, the Patreon is up. I just have not finished filling out all the stuff on there. So don't worry, it'll be there. But that does not have to stop you from joining the Mother Mob. Okay. You can join the Mother Mob right now, absolutely free. All you got to do is go to YouTube and Radio-Muva Uncensored. All you got to do is subscribe. It's free. Okay. Join the Mother Mob and let's get down to business like right now. So if you have been under a rock and you have not heard about Young Scooter is a rapper who unfortunately passed away very untimely on his birthday a couple days ago. Now, ever since I heard about this, it has been bothering me for numerous reasons. Okay, wait. TikTok, I gave y'all a job to do. Y'all forgot to remind me to test the audio. So one moment before we get too deep into this, because we don't want to miss what's going on. Okay, ooh, good job. All right, y'all. So we have the microphone, we have the speaker on, right? Okay, and everything's cool. Y'all can hear me? Somebody can give me a thumbs up. Well, I know TikTok. I know y'all can hear me. But let's see, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, everywhere else. If y'all can hear me, drop it in the comments. And hopefully StreamYard and Facebook are getting along today. And okay, we're good. We're good. All right. So if y'all ever have any, and this is really like all of our jobs, okay? I need y'all. If you ever have any problems hearing me, let me know. Let me know in the comments. Cause you know mother can talk, baby. And I'll be done tell the whole story, honey. And y'all will be watching me laughing and I'll be going. All right. So if you ever can't hear me, make sure you let me know. Okay. Anyway, back to Young Scooter. If you do not know who Young Scooter is, let's get into that first. All right. A little bit about Young Scooter. Rapper, passed away a couple days ago on his birthday. Hard to believe how he passed away, which is why we're having this conversation today. Okay. I will not be able to rest until I know exactly what is going on with this Young Scooter situation. Now, I never liked scary movies. However, as soon as I heard about Young Scooter dying, okay, and you know, now we hear about the news in the internet streets before we do the real streets, and definitely before we do the news. So the first thing I thought about, though, when I heard about Young Scooter's death was Final Destination. And the second thing I thought is that, oh my God, I may be getting to a big old age because I knew who he was, but I didn't know who he was. You know what I'm saying? You know how you know somebody who is, right? But you can't necessarily pinpoint in your head who they are. All right, so then like I'm like, okay, I need to hear a song. So in case you're like me, 30 fine forever, and didn't necessarily know who Young Scooter was or what song he was most popularly known for, because of course he was down with Future, down with Gucci Man. All right, so here we go. Here, Columbia, just a little bit, okay? You go TikTok. I got y'all on the big screen. All right, let's get in it. Let's get in. This is 12 years ago, by the way. This is Young Scooter, y'all. I could fit a uh, 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 Columbia. Yeah. Okay, first of all, Oh my God. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, y'all. In my mind, when I heard about young Scooter dying, at first I could not place his face. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, I'm not gonna be. We embrace age around here. Age is a blessing, no pun intended. And so then, okay, I'm trying to get TikTok in a better position so you guys are not blocked by the mic stand. There we go. There we go. So then, y'all, I heard that song. Shout out to my girl Chanel, my best friend since ninth grade. Okay. And I just remember so many times when I was outside, because mother used to be outside, and I'm about to be outside again. But I just remember this coming on in the club, and it just go crazy. Yes, tricks do, tricks do. Okay, all right. So sorry, that's if you didn't know, young Scooter. Rest in peace, young Scooter. My condolences to all of his friends and family. And this is still very new for them. So I just want to go on record by saying right now in the beginning that please do not take anything that we say here today as offensive, making light of, or anything. We are simply using public information to try to get more of an understanding of what happened to with and by I don't even know everything with young Scooter, right? As well as we are trying to celebrate his legacy, right? Because if you're like me, like I said, at this big old age, and I got a 5-year-old, so you already know, baby, if it ain't a something straight from the 90s and it happened in between there, it is a possibility. If you don't play their song for me or show me their face, I might not remember who they are. But I wanted you to see who Young Scooter was for a reason. All right. So let's look again real quick. Yes, I want to hear the song, but we're not getting striked. So stay focused, y'all. All right. I want you to see Young Scooter real quick. Hold on. All right. I want you to see Young Scooter again for a minute. All right. So this was 12 years ago. Yes. Okay. However, he body size did not change drastically. All right. So let's see here. Sorry about that. TikTok. There you go. All right. So look at his body type. Okay. Because these are some of the things that I thought about initially when they said he was jumping a fence. Okay. So obviously, I've seen somebody jump a fence before. No, for real, in real life. And they were about that size, young, but I think any of us, we in the right situation will jump a fence. Unless physically you're not able to. Now, young Scooter is a person of small stature. That was important to me because I felt like, how could he fall so hard, right? That his fall could break something that could cause such quick internal bleeding that it caused him to die. No, seriously. So I knew immediately we don't have all the information. Now, again, in case you were under a rock and didn't know what happened, let me bring you up to speed a little bit. So, with young Scooter, the cops did something that I thought they should. This is why it's important, especially nowadays. If you have a media person in or public relations person in your police department, etc., then it's important now to also tag team that person with someone that is in charge of not only deciphering and decoding, because they are definitely using social media for that. You don't see all these three goes, but they definitely need to get on top of it because what happens is we know before the world know, and if the cops don't make a statement, right, then we start running with the narrative, especially when you got free range on someplace like social media and when you have somebody that's a star like young Scooter. All right. So that's what happened. Everybody went away with all kind of stories. And I told y'all, listen, I still I still got a lot of different stories, which is why we're here today, because we got questions. So young Scooter, when we found out about the situation, okay, we all were wondering what could have happened. And the internet ran wild and said APD killed him. Even some of his people was posting online like FAPD, blah, 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 blah. They killed Scooter, blah, blah, blah. And in my mind, I'm like, what? And then I saw like a post from, I forgot her name, but she was like, because it was his birthday, remember? So like apparently they were supposed to be celebrating later that night. And Future, who is his boy, right? Future, had bought him a Bentley for his birthday, allegedly, and was going to give it to him that night. So I'm like, everybody with the theories, I'm like, something just ain't adding up, y'all. The math is not mathing, and math ain't never been my thing, but common sense has always been. And something still ain't adding up. All right, so I gave you a quick recap on what's going on. Now let me give you not only a quick recap of what's going on, but let's watch this quick clip from the news. It plays a little bit of the 911 call, okay? And I'm laughing at the 911 call, not because it's funny, but because in my mind, all I hear is get up, get down. 911 is the joke in your town, because that's immediately what I thought when I heard this 911 call. But you be the judge. Let's get another quick recap of the case where it stands right now and the 911 call that led the cops in this direction to begin with. Okay, y'all, because they say they didn't kill young Scooter. They didn't shoot young Scooter. They didn't do anything to young Scooter. He did it to himself. All we did was answer the 911 call. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you already know that there's four sides to a story. There is the truth, the lie, the real story, and then what really happened. Okay, so let's check this out real quick. Let's share the screen.
Out that 911 call that led police to the home where rapper Young Scooter was celebrating his 39th birthday Friday night. It's not clear if police ever found the woman the caller claims was being attacked, but now they're looking to track down that caller.
All right, here we go, y'all.
He's touching her. If you guys don't get her, she's going to be really hurt.
The woman who called 911 told operators there was something seriously wrong at the home on William Nye Drive in southeast Atlanta.
He's beating her bloody. He's dragged her back in the house.
In 911 audio obtained by Fox 5, the caller claims a woman with a child was bleeding and shots were fired.
I think you guys should get here quick because this girl he's really hitting her, and it's a child involved.
Police have not told us if that woman was ever located or if the call was legitimate.
This girl doesn't have on any clothes. They threw her outside. He was fighting the girl.
When officers got to the home, they say two men ran out the back door. One of those men has been identified as rapper Young Scooter. Police on scene said he sliced his leg trying to hop a fence. Medics took him to Grady, where he died.
One can bleed out in seconds from a laceration to a femoral artery.
The medical examiner will determine cause of death. Dr. Cecil Bennett with Noonan Family Medicine says cuts to a specific area of the leg could prove deadly.
The femoral artery is under pressure, which means that once it's cut, it's not just a matter of it bleeding, but there's a pulse. So there's an increased loss of blood because of the pulse of the femoral artery.
Fox 5 captured police back at the home on Monday. The people inside told us they were too heartbroken to go on camera. Dr. Bennett says these injuries can quickly turn deadly if there's not immediate surgery.
It's considered a surgical emergency. A tourniquet must be immediately applied, but getting to the hospital is critical.
And on Friday evening, social media was abuzz with rumors that Young Scooter was involved in a shootout with APD. Police say that was never the case, but they're now asking for the public's help to identify the woman who called 911. Investigators say that call was made from a 911 only phone, which makes it harder to trace.
Okay, check this out. You know, sometimes I know that and coming from traditional media, I get it. You have a different responsibility of being, I don't want to say being careful of what you say, right? But you have a responsibility ethically to report news not as rumor. But baby, we is on the internet, okay? We is on the internet. Y'all, let me tell you something. Let's get into this 911 call, okay? Because I've never worked for 911. Shout out to all my 911 workers out there. I hope you're not offended by the title of the show saying is 911 a joke in your town, because we're not talking about you, okay? We are clearly talking about this particular call and this situation by itself, all right? Let's get into this 911 call, and I want y'all to tell me what you think, and we'll stop in certain parts of the call and talk about it, because we have questions, and I mean, rightfully so. You saw on the news just now, everybody was thinking it was a trap house in the hood, blah, 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 blah. I mean, even me, and I think I know Atlanta pretty well, but seeing that didn't look like no trap house. And seeing that fence, in my mind, everybody was like, oh, it had to be like a barbed wire fence or something. No, that was wood. It was wood. It was just wood. And I saw one, and listen, that could not be where he, clearly that's not where he fell, because all that blood, right? According to the doctor, that would have came out immediately. It would have still been there, something. But I see one little chip on the top of the wood. We got so many questions, but let's get into this 911 call real quick. And I want you guys to tell me in the comments your thoughts about some of the things that they say. And again, I am not in any way laughing at this particular situation, Young Scooter's death, or the APD, or anybody. But I do want us to listen to the content of this 911 call, okay?
Tell me exactly what happened.
Okay, so I'm
I'm going to tell you what you're hearing.
I'm the neighborhood watch, and basically like I said.
First of all, George Zimmermina, really, really, really? At Neighborhood Watch, I already checked out. At Neighborhood Watch, at the simple words of Neighborhood Watch. And I grew up in a home where my dad was literally the Neighborhood Watch guy. I'm talking about, y'all remember the little blue signs with the eye? Y'all know what I'm talking about? My dad, who's also a retired cop, was the Neighborhood Watch guy from, as long as I can remember, until I left the house. And I left the house at 17. Y'all, there ain't no Neighborhood Watch no more. What you talking about? Child, listen, let me tell you something. First of all, I heard her voice, and I am sorry if it sounds like I am profiling, because that is exactly what I'm doing. I heard her voice, and I knew that she was not Neighborhood Watch. She was probably watching the neighborhood, but she was not Neighborhood Watch. There's no such thing anymore. You know what Neighborhood Watch is now? Aggravating ass HOA. By the way, my middle finger to the HOA t-shirts coming this week on customsquick.etsy.com. That's neither here nor there. So let's get into a little bit more of this call. Again, like I said, as soon as I heard Neighborhood Watch, I was like, yeah, she's lying.
I said these guys they're like selling drugs in and out of the house. All you see is guys coming in and out of the house with guns and stuff. They holding guns in the air, and then it's like, I'm not sure if they're pimping, but it's the situation that's going on right now. This girl doesn't have on any clothes. They threw her outside. He was fighting the girl. He literally fought the girl. I'm not sure what they was fighting over. If they was fighting over drugs.
If you are Neighborhood Watch, okay, like Yeah, I heard, yo, you heard, right? Listen, nobody knew what to believe. Okay, so this is right when it happened. Nobody knew what to believe. And I will now hindsight, of course, is always 2020. But ladies and gentlemen, when I hear this call, and I don't know what the requirements are in a 911 call center for you to say, hey, I think that this is some bullshit. I mean, I'm sure there's a code word that they use that's not so vulgar. But anyway, let's get back into the call.
And they started shooting. She had someone come over there and they started shooting. But the house needs to be investigated. They're definitely doing illegal stuff over there, and it's disturbing
How
the
many shots
area.
were fired?
I would say 3. It was 3 shots.
When did it happen?
I would say
It's happening now.
Okay.
So I believe the girl is hurt.
And
And
they're
that's why
coming
I say
from 273 William Knott Drive?
That's not, yes. And the girl is hurt because
let's stop right there. Let's do this, y'all. 273 William Knott Drive. I want to see where that is. Hold on. Let's see on Google Maps, right? I'm sorry, Google Earth. 273. Look at that. Look how many people have been Googling it, y'all. It popped right up, yo. All right, so let's look at this. All right, so let me be clear. 30315 is Southwest Atlanta. Okay. I used to live in Southwest Atlanta. 30315 is Southwest Atlanta, but there is also a part of it that borders over into Southeast. Okay. Let's take a look at the property. First of all, let's be clear. Now, if this is in the hood in Atlanta, because they have done a lot of, renovations to a lot of homes. But I mean, this is right by downtown, guys. Let's be clear. This is right where the Brave stadium used to be until they just got sick of the ninja behavior down there and ended up moving the Brave studio altogether to Cobb County. But, oh God, what's that? Sorry, y'all. TSD. Make sure it wasn't no shouting. Nothing. Okay, my bad. All right, I'm back. So this is the house apparently where young Scooter lost his life. So if I'm young Scooter and I close the door and I run out the back, okay, and I am jumping a fence, not saying I'm in his head at all. But y'all, like I said, even if this is around the hood, this is like the best part. Like this is the part where they have renovated. Okay, they've renovated all the houses. We're right by downtown. Look at this. People got pods outside. It's working families. Like, this ain't no trap house going on right here, bruh. There is not a trap house going on across from my house with a pod. There's not. It's just not. And a kid basketball goal. Look at how neatly trimmed. Look at all this. Y'all. Now, before I saw the house, I was wondering, right, where it was. So I'm trying to, like I said, I used to live in Carver Homes. If you know the real Atlanta, the old Atlanta, then you know what I'm talking about. So here's where the old Carver Homes used to be. Amo Heights, we over here by Lakewood Amphitheater, which, let's be clear, it is still hood over there, okay? But there's hood everywhere, okay? Let's be clear. It's still hood over there. I would never say that it's not too. You, ladies and gentlemen, you see a JJ Fish and Chicken, you know it's not far from the address. It's definitely still hood over there. Shout out to JJ Fish and Chicken, though. We love us some JJ Fish and Chicken. This is actually the Wendy's where a couple years ago the police did kill a black man in the drive-thru. I don't know if you guys remember that. So again, we're right off of University Ave in that whole area. All right, so like I said, this is Carver Homes. This is Amo Heights. Definitely used to be super hood over here. I lived in Amo Heights too. All right, so now here is Lakewood Amphitheater and Lakewood Stadium where the games and the concerts are, right? This is the address where young Scooter died, allegedly. Okay, we got to say allegedly. And we got to say allegedly because we still got questions. All right. Now, we over here by Thomasville is not far. Okay, you see that? We right here by like we still in the hood. Okay, we in the hood, but we're in the upscale part of the hood. You know what I'm saying? Like we in the upscale part of the hood. All right. So what they call the thing when they when the people come and change. What's up, Scott Free? When the people when they move all the people in, y'all know what I'm talking about. Oh my God, I cannot think of the word. When they moving all the black people out and the raise the prices. Oh my God, y'all, what's the word? Give it to me in the comments, somebody. Cause oh my God. Come on, y'all, give it to me in the comments. It's why I keep thinking renovations. Y'all ain't gonna give it to, I got to goddamn find it because it's gonna bother me. Hold on. What's the word when moving? Oh my God, I am so mad that I can't. Y'all. Okay, now gentrification. Holy crap, y'all. Gentrification. Jesus Christ. How do I do this? I'm still y'all know I'm still y'all know I am still, honey, learning on the whatchamacallit, TikTok live. Because we're going from being just on the simulcast stream to everything. Okay. Gentrification. Now that my brain freeze is over, which officially lets me know that I need some lunch. But okay, here we go. So y'all, where young Scooter was, there's been a lot of gentrification, but let's be clear, it has been gentrification smack dead in the middle of the hood. So it's not like they tore down the whole hood. I told y'all the Braves just moved the whole stadium because they sick of y'all. And I ain't gonna lie, the YNs is heavy over there, okay? But the area that we're looking at where young Scooter was at is an area where there's either original Atlantans or more working people, families, etc. It is not that type of area. It is not the type of area where you would even inspect that car. And look at, I mean, if we were stereotyping. And go back, let's go back to this really quick, okay? And y'all, if like the lady said, remember she was like, I can hear it, I can see it. I think they shot 3 times. It's my neighbor. I'm neighborhood watch, blah, 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 blah. Right? So here's my question. Bitch, where? Bitch, where? Because even if you're right here, right, you have to literally be out your door. And I don't know about you, but I just told you what kind of neighborhood this is, right? Listen, it ain't that far removed where anybody in their right mind is running towards gunfire. I'm sorry. Nobody, not a single person, not of any age, is about to run towards some gunfire to see what's popping. So that was already BS. Okay. And then on top of that, y'all, again, let's look at these fences. Where was he going behind here? Oh, we was going to jump the fence to get out the yard. And then what? Like, yeah, they have a little flag thing here. This is not what the call tried to make it to be. Okay, it's just not, y'all. It's not. It's not. So we've established that. All right. Let's get to the last little bit of the call and then move on.
Because she was like bleeding profusely, like blood everywhere.
She was. Listen, if somebody is bleeding profusely, are you going to be that calm? Are you going to be that calm? She was just bleeding profusely. Yeah, but I'm gonna let this play because I want to tell you the one point where I knew she was lying. And don't go anywhere, okay? Make sure you share this with your friends because the cops in the news, they're still acting like they're looking for who this person is. Well, the internet is undefeated, and we done found out who she is. Stay tuned.
Okay. Do you see or hear anything else?
Yeah, she's trying to get away and they're holding her. She's being held hostage. Like they brought her, the guy that was fighting her, she ran outside naked and then he was fighting her outside.
Child.
And
So
then
is
there
it
was another
happening or did it
commotion.
happen?
She tried to get away. He dragged her back in the house. So now they're at the door, literally fighting. She's trying to get out. And
Yo.
he's refusing to let her out. And it's
Yo.
like 7 guys in the house.
Yo. For real. Hold on. Wait a minute. Because, sometimes I think that sometimes I think that I be too hard on people.
Tonight, a 911
Hold on,
call
I just
is
want y'all to hear
raising
this
more
one part.
questions.
Hold on.
So there's like 7 guys that live in his house.
A few seconds later, telling the dispatcher the guys are selling drugs out of the home.
All you see is guys coming in and out of the house with guns and stuff.
Then claiming a naked woman was thrown outside.
It sounded like they were fighting over drugs. And then they
How does
started
that
shooting
sound?
The dispatcher questions the caller.
in the
Many shots
area.
were fired.
I would say 3. It was 3 shots.
When did it happen?
It's happening now.
Then sends Grady EMS to the scene.
The girl is hurt because she was like bleeding profusely, like blood everywhere.
Do you see or hear anything else?
Yeah, she's trying to get away and they're holding her. She's being held hostage.
Oh
A few
my
minutes
God.
later, on the line with first responders, the caller adds a child to the situation.
As
Ran
a child,
outside
y'all.
naked, bleeding from her face. Then there was a baby involved.
This call sparked the chain of events that ultimately led to the death of Kenneth Bailey, better known as rapper Young Scooter. APD Homicide Commander Lieutenant Andrew Smith describes what happened once officers got on scene.
They knocked on
Uh-huh.
the door. A male opened the door and immediately shut the door on the officers. During the process of establishing the perimeter, 2 males fled out of the rear of the house,
One of those males being Young Scooter.
jumped 2 fences as he was fleeing. When officers located him on the other side of the fence, it appears that there was, when he fell, some type of fracture injuries to the leg, which caused the bleeding.
All right, y'all. I'm still not satisfied with that, but let's go back for 1 second. All right. Let's see here. The 911 call. There is this one part where she says, let's see, I think the Breakfast Club played it this morning, right? Let's see.
Everywhere. She ran outside naked, and then he.
Oh, hold on. Sorry, y'all.
Everywhere. She ran outside naked, and then he was fighting her outside.
Woman says that she is highways or whatever. There are certain emergency phones where you can literally only call for.
All right. Anyway, y'all get the gist. So I will let me tell you one thing. Number one, it was a 911 only phone. What? Is that one of those government phones where if you don't put any minutes on it, you can still use it to call 911 only? Like, is that what we're talking about here? All right. Well, there's a part in the call. We're not going to keep listening to it because every time I keep listening to it, I get angrier and angrier. You know why? Because I know she's lying, y'all. And there's a part in the call where the 911 dispatch officer asks her, what's her name? And if you have watched enough First 48, or if you're homegirl homicide like I am online, then you know when somebody asks you the question back, no matter what the question is, they are giving themselves time to come up with something because they're lying. They're lying or they're about to lie to you. The 911 dispatcher said, what's your name? She said, what's my name? I said right then, all bets are off. She's lying. The 911 only phone. So you mean to tell me you calling on a trap house? Well, you think, quote unquote, you're calling in, making the police believe this is a trap house, and it's a 911 only phone. So what? You calling in from a trap phone to the trap house? And as close as you is, bitch, is you in the house? I'm just saying. Okay. And then on top of that, y'all, we saw Young Scooter's physical makeup. Okay. He's not a heavy set guy, which I'm sure you don't have to be a certain weight to do breaks or things of that nature. But there's something that the orthopedic doctor said that kind of threw me off when I listened to what the cop said about what happened in the end. Because if I'm listening to the orthopedic, now, listen, anything can happen. Like I said, I've watched 1,000 Ways to Die. Choose one. I get it. But when I take everything into consideration, y'all, there's a lot that doesn't make sense. Okay. So let's get into this real quick about the injury, what the cop said, and then who this 911 caller is, according to the internet, even though the cops act like they still don't know who it is. All right. So here we go. The cop, I'm sorry, the doctor. Okay, young scooter, death. What did I say? Orthopedic doctor, right? Ortho. Is it ortho? Yeah, orthopedic. All right, so look, let's do this, right? Because orthopedic doctor weighs in on a death. All right, this is important because this is important.
Well, tonight, the GBI is labeling the death of Atlanta rapper Young Scooter as an in-custody death. His real name is Kenneth Edward Bailey, originally from Walterboro, South Carolina, but
Walterboro, South Carolina,
in the music industry in Atlanta. Condolences from some of the biggest artists continue to pour in. Rapper Meek Mill posting on X, R.I.P. Young Scooter, an ATL generational leader that helped keep a lot of energy pumping out and into ATL. Prayers for your kids, family, and whole Free Bands family. As many continue to remember him, there are some questions still. How Young Scooter ended up dying after being pursued by Atlanta police last night. 11 Alive's Cody Alcorn is live outside APD headquarters. And Cody, despite initial unconfirmed reports that spread like wildfire, APD says their officers never fired a shot.
Okay. But did you tase him? No.
That's right, Angelina. Now, what I can tell you is the only injury mentioned by APD was to Young Scooter's leg. They say he fell after jumping over a couple of fences. Now, just hours ago, I spoke to an orthopedic surgeon to get some context to how a leg injury could possibly lead to death. This was the scene on Friday night in the 200 block of William Nye Drive, in a Lakewood neighborhood in southeast Atlanta. Police responding to a 911 call. APD Homicide Commander Lieutenant Andrew Smith.
Officers responded to a dispute with a weapon. It was advised in the call remarks that shots were fired and a female was dragged back into the location.
As officers tried to make contact with anyone in the home,
2 males fled out of the rear of the house.
APD says one of those men was Kenneth Bailey, better known as rapper Young Scooter. Lieutenant Smith says Bailey jumped 2 fences before officers caught up to him.
When officers located him on the other side of the fence, he appeared to have suffered an injury to his leg. There was no indication of anyone being shot. This appears that there was, when he fell, some type of fracture injuries of the leg, which caused the bleeding.
Injury.
Possibly fracturing or breaking his femur, which orthopedic surgeon Dr. Craig Weil says isn't impossible.
Well, the femoral artery is quite large, and it could, if you broke your femur and it broke badly enough, the ends of the femur fracture could be sharp enough to cut the artery.
As for the fall,
it'd have to be a very hard fall.
Something you don't often see.
No, you don't. It's a relatively rare injury to have a femoral artery death. It's only about 10 to 15% of traumas, so it's not very high.
Very hard.
The Fulton County Medical Examiner says right now the cause and manner of death for Young Scooter is listed as undetermined.
I bet the hell it is.
An autopsy is planned if it's not already been conducted. Now, the GBI is investigating this in-custody death, Angelina, and of course the
in-custody death. That is important, ladies and gentlemen. In-custody death. Okay. All right, so before we wrap this part up, I just want to know if the let's see here really quick. Y'all, the doctor said it had to be a very, very hard fall, right? Not saying it's impossible. Again, I would never say it's impossible. But when I am looking at these fences, okay, and I'm thinking about running, jumping, blah, blah, blah. I don't see it. But then now I start to take into account everything that they said. All right. So you got to remember, number one, they were coming off the BS call, which, by the way, definitely was a SWAT call. We're circling back to that. But they said he fell he was jumping 2 fences, fell. When they found him, he appeared to have what did they say? Appeared to have a injury to his leg, correct? All right. He had an injury to his leg, and then they said that it was an in custody death. So I have a question. Okay. We heard what the orthopedic doctor said. It is very, very unlikely, but not impossible. 10 to 15% of any traumas are femur related. Okay. It would have to be a very, very, very hard fall. Okay. And we saw the fences at the address that he was at, allegedly. And the thing is, this is still all alleged, y'all, because remember, right now his death is still listed as undetermined by the medical examiner, unless something came out since we started the stream. So let's check real quick. Young Scooter death, medical examiner. Yeah, okay. So what it looks like is they haven't fully determined the cause of death. And you know why? Let me tell you why. Because they're looking at all this bullshit that we looking at, and they're saying the same things to themselves. Yeah, he dead, but it ain't just how none of them saying it is. Y'all, let me see something. And I know we gotta go. We gotta wrap up the call, and I know we're in a time, and we gotta wrap this all up. I get it. All right. So just bear with mother. Bear with me, okay? I have a question I want to see. Let me see. Animated explanation of femur fracture in leg to cause I don't know. Let's see. All right, so I definitely want everybody on TikTok to see this as well, because if you're anything like me, you need to be able to see animated explanation of femur fracture in leg. It would help if I spelled cause right. In leg to cause death from jump. I don't know. Maybe they have something that we can kind of, right? Let's see. So trigger warning here. If you do not want to, I'm not about to watch nothing gory or whatever, but you know what we're talking about. So I would like to see, let's see this. Let's see. Where's AI when you need it, right? Okay, I would like to see it with some sound, please. Hold on, y'all. That looks like AI right there. Oh, no, that's something different. All right, fractured femur animation. Let's see, y'all, maybe. Can y'all hear? No, me either. What's happening here? Hold on, people. Hold on. Hold on. Wait a minute. Hold a minute. All right, let's see here. Let me check the settings really quick, guys, because I don't want what happened to us the other day to happen again. And I have not moved any equipment yet this morning. So let's test. All right, cool. Microphone, mic check, mic check. We are still Gucci Louis Prada. Okay, cool. Here we go. So we should be good to go unless there's something going on with this actual YouTube video. So let's see. And I still don't hear nothing. So maybe there's no sound on this one. We're going to try one more. Broken leg surgery, femur fracture. Oh, wait. We didn't put that caused blood. That caused bleeding. Right? Because bleeding, I can spell. That caused bleeding. I should have just said bleed to death, right? They better get it. Shoot, now somebody better use the right keywords. All right, so how to stop the bleed? First of all, how does it even happen? Okay, how does a broken bone heal? No, thank you. Why do femur fractures? Okay, maybe let's see this. Sound on, please. Uh-huh. Okay. How long though? Okay. Okay. Uh-huh. Okay. Okay. All right. But then here's my question, y'all. All right. So there's something I heard. Let's see. Did the cops render aid to young Scooter? I don't know if it's gonna be on YouTube, but maybe it'll be on Google, right? Um uh uh I really don't want to go all the way back into that, but maybe we can go into this. Did the cops render aid to young Scooter? Apparently, a lot of people have this question because he appeared to have suffered an injury to his leg. A police spokesperson said officers rendered aid. He was transported to Grady Hospital where he was pronounced deceased. All right. So here we go. They said it is, remember this now. What did they say? They said it is what? A in custody death, meaning he was under arrest. Okay. We don't even know what for. I assume he was under arrest for running, ladies and gentlemen. Is that what we're assuming? Because again, remember the cops said when they got there, they ain't find none of the phone call stuff, right? So it's an in custody death. That's why the GBI is investigating. He appeared to have a leg fracture of some sort, right, or injury that was causing bleeding. And you see how heavy the bleeding is that happens with the femur. And he said a spokesperson said that the officers rendered aid. Now, does that mean applying a tourniquet? I'm sorry, one moment. Ty, quiet on the set, please. What's that? What is that I hear? Sorry, y'all. So, what type of aid is that? Turner, let's see. What aid do cops give to someone who fell and leg is bleeding, I guess, y'all. Right? Let's see what AI has to say. In a situation where a person has a bleeding leg, a police officer, if trained, would first apply direct pressure to the wound with a clean cloth or dressing. And if that is insufficient, they might use a tourniquet if available and train to control the bleeding. Okay, so how long does it take a femur fracture to bleed out, right, to death? Oh, I don't want to know if it's painful. I can imagine it is. I don't even. Oh my God. Okay, let's see. All right. So without immediate medical intervention, a femur fracture can lead to a potentially fatal bleed out within minutes to hours, depending on the severity of the fracture and amount of blood loss. So a person can bleed out from an artery in as little as 2 minutes. On average, the bleed out time varies between 2 and 5 minutes. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm saying all this to say, I know you say that, okay, mother, that does not change the outcome. The man died. It was a freaky accident, blah, 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 blah. Okay, no. Listen, there's a reason the GBI is investigating, and it's not just because of this bogus phone call, but it's also because of the fact that you see how, like, the story sounds bogus to us, right? It sounds bogus to the GBI too. GBI, by the way, stands for Georgia Bureau of Investigations. And that's usually when there is a police officer involved situation, which leads me to believe, again, that they cannot rule that out initially from the body cam footage, the details of what the call was. And now the main thing, and this is how we find out if APD is somehow still responsible. And I hate to say that. I love APD. I love cops everywhere. The good cops, by the way. If it takes 2 to 5 minutes to bleed out, if you are trained as a police officer, and you're not afraid of a black man running away from you in a, remember, gentrified neighborhood, but still in the middle of the hood, right? Then are you waiting to help this person, or do you have an attitude with them because they ran? Okay. Do you let time pass? Do you just put handcuffs on them and let them sit while you're still trying to figure out? Because you got to remember, we don't know how many cops went on the initial call, right? But we do know that they were still trying to figure out all the BS that the person in the phone call that called 911 said. So they're looking for the woman that's bleeding with the kid. There were gunshots. They're looking for a gun. So again, cops naturally, and y'all know already the stress between us and the police. Okay, so taking all of that into consideration, y'all, and this is my thoughts. I feel like now nobody planned on this. Nobody can plan on this. This is a freak accident. No matter what caused the freak accident, it's a freak accident. But I do believe that the time that passed, y'all, is the difference between the life and death of young Scooter. I'm not saying that they purposely let young Scooter die, because they probably didn't know exactly what happened. Nobody says, oh my God, this person jumped the fence, they broke their leg. He probably thought he broke his leg, right? But no one thinks, oh my God, they broke their leg and they're probably bleeding to death. Let me grab the tourniquet from the car because he only has 2 to 5 minutes. Come on, y'all. Look how much research we just had to do. Look how much research we just had to do just to get the basics of where the femur is, what it looked like, what caused the break, and how quick is it to bleed out, right? Right. All right. So the phone call, the 911 call, by the way, who we know that it's bogus. And if you listen to any news reporter, anybody trying to explain it right now, and it also makes sense for the police officer who's the spokesperson who was giving the first press conference, when he was talking about the 911 call before we heard it, y'all, it was something about his demeanor that led me to believe that he was thinking this is some bullshit. But what he was thinking is the 911 call was some bullshit, but you can't really say that yet until you can prove it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the person that made the 911 phone call, apparently the cops say they're still looking for her, right? So look at this. But Mother Mob, y'all know the internet is undefeated always, right? So who made 911 call about young Scooter? All right, so 2 hours ago, Atlanta police need help identifying 911 caller. We're going to help the Atlanta police. Listen, I am a tax-paying citizen. I am singing like a bird every time when it comes to stuff like this. I do not play. I believe in law and order, not in the Donald Trump version, but in the do something with yourself version, okay? All right, so Atlanta police still say that they need help identifying a 911 caller linked to young Scooter death investigation. I think it is our duty, Mother Mob, to help them, all right? We're hip-hop fans. We're fans of young Scooter. And this could be your son or your boyfriend or your man or somebody you know, your cousin, your brother, them. This man had kids, man. This man had kids. Okay, shall I go on? Of course not. All right. Whack 100. Do you know who Whack 100 is? Shout out to Whack 100. He grew on me. Okay, I'm not going to lie. He grew on me because in the beginning, he's getting on my nerves. Every time he talked, every time he always acted like he had the answer. He knew a story about everything, everybody, but I get it. It's been about months and months now. He's officially a part of the streaming community, the podcasting world. He's on No Jumper. He's over at Clubhouse with the 100 side of things. I like Whack 100. He's grown on me. Okay. Him and academics still growing on me. Let's say that. So Whack 100, ladies and gentlemen, has said that they have done some digging and found out who and why the young lady made the 911 call. Because if you're like me, when you heard the 911 call, you thought, okay, this is definitely not neighborhood watch, but maybe this is somebody who lives in a neighborhood. She doesn't sound like an older person, but maybe her mom lives there, okay? And wanted to talk about maybe they tired of seeing people coming and going, right? They tired of the activity. They don't want it safe. So they feel like if they tell the cops this, they can get them to come out there quicker and probably get this house shut down. But then when we look at the neighborhood, guys, and we look on the internet on Google Earth, we see, based off my firsthand information from living over there myself at some point, it's not like that. Not like where you would think. I mean, things can happen anywhere, but the type of trap house she was trying to describe, she said they pimping his kids. The girl naked, they beating her, she bleeding, they shooting. Come on, bro. Didn't I tell y'all it's right by downtown? Come on, y'all. That's why everybody dealing with this call, the 911 operator, both of them, because it was 2 counties, the cops, the EMS, everything, really, they was listening to her, but they all sounded like this is some bull. Like we said too. Well, listen to this and tell me what y'all think. And it's the lady.
This makes me so mad. How does it decompose? All right.
Let's see if this is true, y'all.
Just disgusting. So a couple of days ago, the world found out.
Shout out to Flacco from No Jumper.
Scooter passed away. And found out that Scooter passed away. Initially,
sorry, y'all. Hold on. So apparently, this is the woman.
At the hospital, it can happen, but it's rare. And
all right, y'all, hold on. Look, y'all. Hold up. Y'all know we gotta look her up. Demi Blanco on Instagram. Do y'all know who that is? Demi. I'm assuming we're Demi Blanco. Uh-oh. Look at there. Y'all already on it. Look at there. Oh. It was while he was running from police. Baby, let me tell you something. The internet streets is gonna get it. The internet streets is gonna get it. And the internet streets is gonna get it. And on top of that, baby, on Reddit, baby, they're gonna tell all your business, honey. Okay. Y'all. So who is I'm sure, unless she is clout hungry, she has probably already deleted her page. Let's see. What did they say her name was? Okay. We're looking for, okay, we can't search it here. So then let's go back here. Okay, Demi Blanco. Okay, apparently her name has already been tied to it because, okay, this is not Demi Blanco. Let's be clear. Demi Blanco, young scooter. Let's see. Demi Blanco. Let's try Instagram. And then what did he say? He said her name is like girl la 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 la. What a name. All right, let's see. This is her. Let's see if she still got her page up, y'all. Why does she look familiar? Am I tripping? She look familiar, right? Let's see. Hold on. Okay, so apparently this is her. Okay. Demi Blanco. Let's see if she's addressing it. I'm going live to tell the truth at 1 p.m. What time is it? Did we miss it? Or did she not go live? Okay, y'all. Did we miss it? What's this? 4 days ago? Okay. Did she go live, y'all? Anybody saw it? If she went live, wouldn't it have been there? Like on her, let's see. Okay. We have so many more questions now. Okay, let's see if anybody caught any of it on well, let's get a little bit more info. Here we go.
Right? So she's dating one of young scooters' homes. Now we're not going to say who.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. That's Scallywag. Oh wow. What y'all think? Y'all think that's her? Y'all think that's her? I have seen crazier things. Let's see if anybody and I'm a because right now this is all allegedly, right? Allegedly. Because we have to say it. What we said her name was? Demi Blanco. Oh, y'all is on it, baby. Before I could even get DEM in, it's popping right up, which means people are searching it. Let's see. Well, apparently Flacco got the information from WAC 100, who he got this team called the Exposers, and apparently they went digging and found all the information and found out who the call was. Now, this is why I say the police need to have somebody that work with the internet, not just trying to incriminate people, but to really, really understand the internet and connect it with street life, because we know, and y'all still asking for help. Okay. So we doing it by just finding out using the internet, and y'all getting paid. It's a disconnect there somewhere. Anyway, so she said she was going to go live at 1 p.m., y'all, to tell the truth. I don't see a live on her page. However, maybe it's 1 p.m. a different time zone because we're in Eastern, right? Well, I'm in Eastern time in the U.S. Shout out to TikTok. Well, I tell you what, we'll keep an eye on that because I'm gonna be honest with you. That's the only part about everything that's happened with this whole situation that makes sense to me. It makes sense to me that some heifer, not saying it's her because right now, Demi Blanco, let's make sure we keep her name written down, right? Demi Blanco, because we're gonna circle back on that ass. But right now with Demi Blanco, it's alleged that she's the person responsible for the call. She don't look like she sound. That don't necessarily mean that it's her on the call. It could be her making the call happen. You know how that could go. All right. And by the way, grown women do not do that. Absolutely not. So many other things that we would do. Not that. That is some childish hood-ish, if that's what happened, allegedly. We're very interested to hear her side of the story. We will keep our eye out for that. And then when I find it, I will clip it up and put it up on the page, Radio-Muva on YouTube. All right, y'all. I think let me just make sure because I like to make sure y'all can get money if you can get money. So really quick, hold on 1 second. Hold on. I want to make sure that if it's an opportunity for y'all to get some money. Hold on. Young Scooter. Let me stop talking like that. Hold on. Young Scooter. Because I'm still, again, not making light of his death or the situation. Young Scooter, 911 call reward for information. I'm just me checking. Let's see. All right, so cops are offering guys a $5,000 reward. So listen, okay, now we got information. Now everybody probably is afraid to call or whatever. Listen, I believe in snitching. All right, so here's your opportunity. Snitch. We just pulled up Demi Blanco and she said she was going live at 1:00 with the truth. Okay, we don't know her truth yet. However, if you are interested, there is $5,000 reward in the hunt for the mystery caller. I would assume that you can call the Atlanta Police Department and let them know it is Demi Demi Blanco. And that again is allegedly. If you going to tell them you heard it on Radio-Muva, make sure you say it's allegedly because it is alleged until we get further information. All right, y'all. My final thoughts on this young Scooter situation are this, and I hope that you leave some thoughts even after the live. If you come back in the comment section of a mob and make sure that you leave me some of your final thoughts or your opinion on this young Scooter situation because I think right now everybody is pointing the blame, right? Everybody's pointing the blame because it is very hard to understand. It's hard to understand. It's something that's so weird, right? You try to play it out in your head. Things that we're used to, even things that we're used to sometimes can be hard to understand because, you're thinking about even in a car accident, right? You're thinking, dang, how did that happen? Or, even if somebody jumped off a building or no matter what, you're still wondering like, dang, how did that happen? And so when you get something that's not usual and you pair it up with all of the facts of the situation that we are continuing to find out, it doesn't make it more understandable. It makes it more questionable. And whenever the human mind, we're already infatuated with death and almost like, trying to see how things happen to protect ourselves is natural instinct. This, I don't think anyone could have protected themselves from, except, ladies and gentlemen, in my opinion, the 911 caller. The 911 call, bogus. If you ever heard of a SWAT call, like I think the celebrities in LA, they were going through it a lot. They were having people, remember, I think Cardi B said, the cops showed up at her door and somebody had called and said something was going on. And I think they did Nicki Minaj and, there's a whole bunch of celebrities. People were making fake 911 calls like we did when we was kids in the 90s. Okay. And a bunch of cops will show up at your door looking for this big situation and there's nothing going on. And so they swatted you. This sounds like a case of that gone wrong. Okay. And again, I cannot get in the head of anybody in this situation, but that is why it was so important to take down all the facts of this case from every side so that we as a mob could try to put it together and figure out what the hell really happened to young Scooter. So again, my end thoughts, y'all, is that it was a chain of events that was definitely kicked off by the 911 call. Okay. And I'm going to be honest with you. Allegedly, it is Demi Blanco, or Demi Blanco has something to do with it. Apparently, she's a reality star, Instagram, something, whatever. But that is alleged. If she did, I feel like she should be charged. We still are waiting on the GBI as well to let us know, did police follow proper protocol upon him getting hurt? Okay. They probably did not know immediately that it was a femur break. The man could bleed out. Who knows? We don't know the level of training of the officers on there. But considering the circumstances all taken together, you guys, did the police even have a chance to save young Scooter with the information that they had? They're still looking for a gun. They're still looking for the naked, bloody young lady with the kids, or a kid. They're looking for the caller. They're trying to protect themselves. They're trying to see what's going on. And on top of all of that, right, as confused as they are, so are Scooter and whoever ran. Because it's Scooter's birthday. I don't know what they had going on there. Maybe it could have even been nothing. But unfortunately, in America, ladies and gentlemen, in a time with your divider in chief in charge, mixed with everything that is going on across every hood USA, if a black man sees cops unexpectedly roll up to the door, take everything into consideration, they were probably just as spooked as the cops were. What the hell are you doing here? Okay? And unfortunately for a lot of black men, I am not saying it is right. I have 2 adult sons, and I'm gonna tell y'all something. It has been hell as a parent. My parental paranoia, they whole life, including now, every time they got to interact with a cop or every time they even got to go somewhere. I hate that feeling, but the feeling is real. So don't be acting like young Scooter had to be doing something crazy to run from the cops, because unfortunately, in ghetto ass USA, not the ghetto neighborhood, but the ghetto country, we have been forced into a situation where we have, since the beginning of time, as people of black and brown origin and color, have a very rocky relationship with any sign of law enforcement, of any type of law enforcement. And it is natural instinct, unfortunately, as a black man in America, and I'm not one, but I've raised 2, and I was raised by one who was also a cop. My dad was a cop, so I've seen both sides. It is natural instinct to run. Because if I do not run, unfortunately, and this is the reason that I believe the internet ran with the stories that they did, if I don't run as a black man, when I see cops, for whatever reason, I don't know if I'm going to make it out alive. And that's just facts. And unfortunately, the fact of running to try to stay alive without having to interact with the cops as a black man is unfortunately a part of this tragic situation that took young Scooter's life. So leave your thoughts in the comments, y'all. I'd like to know what you think. Call me out if you think I'm wrong, if you think I'm being too closed-minded about it, if you think that I am downplaying whatever situation that the house he was at or whatever he was doing there played in the situation. Let me know what you think in the comments. Radio-Muva on all outlets, of course. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, Patreon. I feel like I'm forgetting something. Etsy, customsquick.etsy.com. It'll be in the comments pinned. We made this Nipsey Hussle shirt. Rest in peace to Nipsey Hussle. 6 years ago, yesterday. We made this shirt live on TikTok. So if you haven't joined us on TikTok yet, make sure you do that. Radio-Muva on TikTok, and make sure you visit the Etsy store and get all your graduation accessories. We got the fans, the stoles, the shirts, the everything. We're gonna make a Young Scooter shirt. Why not? We'll make a Young Scooter shirt. Okay, so we'll do that. If not today, well, maybe later today. Okay, y'all hold me to that. Okay, TikTok. Later today, we'll jump on TikTok live, and I'll design a Young Scooter shirt. And before I go, I just want to leave an encouraging word with somebody. The hardest thing to do is not doing what it is you say you want to do. It's actually starting. Starting is the hardest part of anything. And quitting is the easiest thing to do after you start. But with that in mind, I would just like to encourage you to stop waiting for what you think you need to start and just go. 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 You're not waiting on God. God is waiting on you. Go. And if you go, I promise you, if you're walking in your purpose, if you have the faith, even if you don't know, but you just go, everything that you need will make its way to you, provide for you. Everything and everybody will come to you as you need it, when you need it. But first, you gotta go. Nothing that you can do to get the things that you need that'll get you there quicker than just going. All right? So tell somebody that today. Go. I love y'all. Let me know your thoughts about the whole Young Scooter situation in the comments. And if you're still watching this video, make sure you subscribe, no matter where you're watching it at, all right? Make sure you subscribe. And then, of course, still coming up, we got to talk about KKK Kanye. So that video will also be on Radio-Muva Uncensored on YouTube. And what else we got to talk about? Cardi B and Offset. It is getting heated. It is getting heated. It is getting heated. Or has it been heated? We're going to talk about what's really going on with Cardi B and Offset and how we can help Cardi B heal, start her healing process. All right, all of that and more, plus your thoughts next. Radio-Muva, we will see you on the next live later on today. Mwah. Bye, y'all.